Whether you have been a part of the fiber arts community for years and years, or you are just learning how to knit and crochet, welcome to my YouTube channel. I hope this is a space where you can feel welcome, connected to others, and inspired and uplifted to try something new. So I love to tell stories. When things happen in my life, I love to retell those stories to my friends and family. And I believe that we all have a creative story to tell, something about our lives that sets us apart from other people. I want to hear those stories and I want to help tell those stories. So that's one of the things that you'll get from my channel. And if you stay to the end of this video, I'll share with you who I was able to interview for my very first interview. I'm super excited to share those details, so stay tuned for that. I'd like to just tell you about me because you're listening to me and you're watching me, so you should know a little bit about me. So my name is Laura and I live in Springboro, Ohio. I have 3 boys, 20, 16, and 14. No, he's not 14, he's 12, but he's acting like he's 14, so we'll go with that. My husband and I have been married for almost 25 years. So we are just, trucking along, doing our thing. When my 20-year-old was 1 year old, I knew that I needed to learn something to keep my hands busy while he was crawling around and walking around. And I also was going through a time in my life where I had moved away from friends and had to make new friends. And that's the story of my life, childhood through my young adult years. And so I didn't want to be sitting around and mopey. So I needed something to keep my hands busy, and I'll talk about mental health with fiber arts in another episode. I'm sure I'll talk about it a lot, but anyway, knitting was what I learned to do first, and then I learned to crochet probably about a year later. So I've been knitting for almost 20 years, and then crocheting, I would say 18, 19 years. And I love to make sweaters. Now, I didn't start out making sweaters. I started out making dishcloths and things like that. One thing that I want to share is that I love to teach people how to knit and crochet. And I especially love teaching teenagers because they're not as hard on themselves when they can't get something right. They don't give up as easily. So I do love to teach crochet to teenagers. But I was teaching a class a few weeks ago in Cincinnati at a local yarn shop there. And the girl, she was 13 or 14, and she asked me if I had ever made any mistakes while I was knitting or crocheting. And I thought that was really interesting because I think that people have a perception of creatives, right? Like if you've been sewing for years and years and you make these beautiful dresses or blankets, surely you don't really make mistakes, right? You're perfect at this. But I'm here to say that I have made more mistakes than I care to mention with knitting and crocheting. Almost every project that I've ever made has had some little mistake in it that I've had to try to figure out. So, one thing that I encourage young learners of in the fiber arts world is to not be too hard on yourself and don't expect perfection, especially right off the bat. So, I also like to sing and play the piano in private, not around people, and cook and bake and do things like that. So, I hope that as you watch this channel, you get to know me and consider me a friend that you can knit with. So, or crochet with, or just be friends with, whatever. So I will say that I do love to work with all different kinds of fibers and create all different kinds of things. But I really, really do love the more natural wools. They're just, I just love the way that they feel when I'm working with them. And I'm gonna be sharing some tips and tricks with people who are on a budget, because I've definitely been on a yarn budget throughout my journey. But I've also learned that it's okay to splurge and treat yourself when necessary, which is, you know, as often as you need that and your budget allows. So I would love to share with you some things that I have recently taken off the needles. What I've pulled out from my collection is things that are really either brand new off of the needles or something that I've knit or crocheted over and over and I just love. So I'll start with what I'm wearing. This is the Easy V by Caitlin Hunter. And this was a fun project to work up. It really did work up fast. It has a V in the back and the front, the Easy V. And I used Barocco Ultra Alpaca, I think. Vintage Alpaca. Not sure. I'll post it in the description below because that's something I'll probably be doing later today or tomorrow. And then I also used this yarn from Stonehenge Fiber Mill. This yarn is so fun to work with because it's in this big skein and you don't know what color is going to come next. It's all just kind of wonky. I've manipulated the yarn to create these stripes in this colorway that is one of my favorites, one of my go-tos. But I'll show you a project where I used all the colors and I still manipulated it, but same yarn. Okay, so this is the Boxy by Joji Locatelli, and it's been folded up, so it's kind of wrinkly, but you can see it's the same on the front and the back. I manipulated it so that it would be striped like that. This is a great sweater. It is, gosh, working with stripes, I don't know if you've ever worked with stripes, but they just work up so fast. And so you really feel like your project is flying off the needles. So that's another project that I used this yarn for. And then I'm working on, this is like my little side gig that I work on if I'm in line or on a phone call or just kind of waiting for something to happen. And this, I forget the name of the pattern, so I'll post it below, but it's really, it's a tube. It's just a big old tube of all these different colors here. And I've knit, you know, about 10 rows, I would say, unless I run out of a color, like right there and there. But I'll knit 10 rows or so and then break it off and work the other color. But it's just a tube on circular needles, and this has been a real joy to work with. So I'm gonna connect the ends whenever I run out of yarn. I just grab from my little stash here and pick up the next color, do 10 rows or so, and then break it off. When I'm done and out of all those colors, then I will Kitchener stitch the two ends together, and it'll be just one big long wrap around yourself, snuggle up little scarf cow thingy. So yeah, so that is one of my favorite kind of ways to work, where I think I bought like 6 skeins of this yarn. It was like 13 something each, and I just made a few different things out of it. I really love it when I can get a lot of bang for my buck. Okay, so back to mistakes. All right, I'm gonna digress for a minute because yes, I've made mistakes. One of my first mistakes was in knitting and or crocheting, both, which I learned at 2 different times, so you would think I would learn. Instead of making like your classic, you know, blanket that would fit your body, I made blankets that were like super skinny and kind of pointless, unless you are a baby or a toddler in a stroller. So that is what I have here. This was one of my first blankets, and I used Vanna's Choice acrylic yarn, but you can see this was supposed to be much wider, but it's just, you know, a little bit. It was like double my size, double Laura. But then it's really long. So like, yeah, just silly times, I tell you. But that was one of my mistakes. I had to learn, like, oh, okay, I really do have to pay attention to the needle or hook size that I'm using and the fiber that I'm using, because it's going to make an impact on the size of whatever I'm making. So I learned that lesson also with scarves and whatnots and so forths, but that was a biggie for me, a big mistake. So maybe I'll share a little mistake here and there with you all, and you can not feel alone when you make a mistake. Okay, so on to another thing that I just love to make. This is the Millie sweater by Nice and Knit. The pattern is by Nice and Knit. So I have made, I think, 6 of these sweaters. And I've heard people say I could never make the same thing more than once. Well, that is not my style. If I like something, I might want it in like 2 or 3 other colors, so I'm gonna do it. This is such a great pattern. One, it's wrinkly. It's been folded up because I haven't been wearing this lately, but this uses 2 skeins of yarn for the whole entire sweater of fingering weight yarn. It has like these, I don't know, bat wing sleeves. So it's really just this loose and airy sweater. It feels really comfortable and cozy, and it matches like everything the style does. Trousers, pants, skirts, overdresses. Here's another one that I made, and I love this color. It's one of my favorites. You will see, you will learn. It's one of my favorites. But the Millie sweater by Nice and Knit. Check it out if you haven't made it. My last one that I'll show today. Love it. Oh, it's such a good sweater. I want to make another one. I'm addicted. All right. Okay, then another sweater pattern that I really, really, really love, and I thought I had one on the needles, but I guess I don't. I looked and couldn't find it. This is the Super Simple Summer Sweater by Joji Locatelli. And this I made out of Rios. These were all indie dyers, so I don't remember if I have them on my project page on Ravelry. I'm not super great at that, but yeah. So this is a super simple summer sweater, and this knits up so fast. I used Rios Manos del Uruguay. Love this sweater. It's an easy, relaxing pattern, but it's also a really easy sweater to wear. So if you're on the lookout for sweaters, you might find some here that strike your fancy. Then I have this sweater, which is also the super simple summer sweater. But I use lots of colors inspired by Summerly Designs. She just uses such vibrant colors, and I love a little mix of both vibrant colors and neutrals. So really one of my goals is to work on neutral palettes for like the main garments, and then my accessories to be kind of vibrant colors. That might be a goal for 2023. But anyway, love the vibrant colors. That's fun. Okay, and then the next little section here is crochet. And this is a pattern that I absolutely love. Church Mouse Yarns has a, I think it's called half a granny square triangle shawl or wrap. But the pattern suggests using a worsted weight yarn and then multiple colors for a striped effect. And I just do my own thing. I use fingering weight yarn on a size E or even a G hook, and this is how I do it. This is one of my favorite things to do with those special skeins that you pick up at a special yarn shop when you're traveling, or at a fiber arts gathering or something like that. Because the purple section here takes 1 skein of yarn, and then the black is a mini. So if you have sock sets laying around that are special to you, but you don't know, what you're gonna use them for, this is a really great option. Maybe you don't knit, maybe you don't crochet. This is a great thing to learn. a great way to learn crochet with a granny square. A lot of people learn crochet with granny squares. Here it is again, but this time I used 2 full skeins of fingering weight yarn. And I really love this too. This is so much bigger, and I can wrap it around, tie it underneath. This is just kind of how I wear them. Not on my neck or my chin, but just kind of around, you know, like this. And I have not added tassels or pom-poms yet, but that is, I really do want to do that. I actually have one that I just need to finish up with. It's a Bangles colorway, and I want to put pom-poms or tassels on the end of it for a little, you know, rah, rah, rah. Okay, and then, so that's crochet. I think that's all the crochet I have for today. P.S. This whole looking at the camera, looking at the right spot is super, super difficult. It's really hard. So if you see me looking like weird, it's just because this is hard. It's new, it's hard, okay? All right, so that's that. And then hot off the needles, pretty hot off the needles. This is the Ranunculus, which I used fingering weight yarn. This is one of my summer projects. And I love this. I love the lace on it. It's just a really comfortable, relaxed sweater. And this is one of my favorite colors. So, you know, it's just gorgeous. Gorgeous to wear. And then I have my first Love Note sweater. And I say first because I will be making this again. Both the Ranunculus, which I just showed, and the Love Note, you can use different weights of yarn on the same size needles, like on a size 10, which is a bigger needle. And you can get a really different type of sweater. So this also has been folded up, so it's not steam blocked or anything. This is more of a cropped sweater, and you can make it cropped or, you know, whatever length you want. You can make a dress if you want, shoot. But anyway, I love it. Make this again for sure. Okay, moving on. I have started making my husband's sweaters. We went to Rhinebeck in October, which I'll share those details on a different video because it's a lot of information and it's super fun to talk about. I get pretty excited about it. Anyway, I had never knit him a sweater. I've made hats for him and fingerless gloves. Tried socks, didn't finish those. But then before Rhinebeck, he asked me if I was ever gonna make him a sweater, you know, so I did make him a sweater. I have not finished the sleeves. So at Rhinebeck, he did wear this sweater, but he wore his jean jacket over it to hide that the sleeves were not done. So this is the Dustland sweater by Stephen West, and it is really, really fun to work up actually because of all the texture. I had one sleeve almost done and it was ginormous. For some reason, it was huge. So I took it out and I put it on hold because I am working on a test knit for Primrose Yarn Co. And that is a sweater for him too. And this test knit has a deadline of December 5th. Or no, 10th. December 10th. I don't know why the 5th popped in, but it's December 10th. So I've been working on this sweater and kind of sharing some reels over on Instagram and my Facebook page to just show the progress because it helps to keep me motivated to keep going when I have to show what I'm doing. And also it's just fun. So this is the sweater I'm making for him. It's called Spring House. The Spring House. I think it's just Spring House. And I'm using Primrose Yarn Co. yarn. And this is a sport weight sweater. And the color that I chose for this was Cosmos. So it's like a black, blue undertone black yarn, I would say. And then the stripes are in this super fun fun yarn here that changes color, and I'm having a fun time making this sweater. I'll tell you what, it's really, really fun, and I love a challenge. I love to challenge myself with things. So yeah, and it'll be awesome to see him wear a sweater that I made. At the beginning of this episode, I shared with you that I am interviewing different people who are in the creative world of fiber arts. And the first interview that I was able to conduct was with Amy Beth of The Fat Squirrel. And Amy Beth is someone you should absolutely be following if you're not. She is a prolific knitter, but also an expert on apples. And she makes beautiful, beautiful bags that sell out in a hot second on her site. So I had the honor of meeting with her and talking with her and hearing her story. And I also got to buy a couple of bags. So I wanted to share those with you. She makes these gorgeous bags out of upholstery fabric, and they're really special, just beautiful bags. So this is one that I got. And then I also got this cool bag. So just ginormous. I mean, a huge, huge bag that I can fit like a sweater's quantity of yarn in. So Amy Beth was really, really sweet and gracious and offered to sit down and talk with me for a little bit. And so I'll be sharing that interview in my next episode. So be sure that you like, follow, subscribe, all that jazz, so that you'll get a notification when that episode is up. I'm not sure when this episode will even be up, but if you hit the subscribe button, you'll get a little notification that'll let you know when future episodes are up. So thank you so much for spending some time with me today. Thanks for watching. And I really, really hope that this is a place where you feel safe and comfortable, and let's make beautiful things together and make this world a better place. We can't do this by ourselves, and having a creative outlet is such a huge gift and such a great opportunity to invite peace into our hearts. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.